Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burb with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can.
Good morning, everybody.
Backstories like an icy cold brew.
Yeah.
Never know what these two might spew.
Good morning. Good morning, Richard. It's another wonderful day. Beautiful day here in Western Pennsylvania. We're looking at 80 degrees almost over the weekend.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Derpy said he was coming down to the Pittsburgh for the Cleveland Guardians Pirates game over the weekend. So
No way.
we'll see if he actually does that, because next week he's supposed to come down for the draft too. So
Yeah, he's supposed to be all over the place.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 727 of the Two Dumb Users. I want to welcome everybody back this morning. Welcome back. Yeah, Mike, you're off to a tough day. You had you had a training at work.
Yeah. 5 hours of training over Zoom. Informative, yes. The presenters, awesome. Some of my compatriots, great. Some of them, long-winded.
Oh, I can imagine. You're just trying to get out of there. And
Yeah. And it, like the long-winded ones, you could tell I think they were newer. So, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to expect. So, but all in all, it was a good day. But it's just my brain's fried staring at a computer screen at work for 5 hours a day when you're not used to doing that. I'm used to being, big guy. You don't think I'm active, but at work, I'm walking 5, 6, 7, 8 miles a day in that little amount of time, talking to everyone, making sure everything's going good. So to go from that to just sitting there, my brain can't handle it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I hate those kind of things, and it's almost like they just do it because it's you got to go through the steps. A lot of times you go through these meetings, and it's either really, really common sense, or even the things that aren't common sense. It's just stuff that you never are gonna need, or you may be able to pick up over time. But these training things, and they're never convenient. I mean, not convenient, but they're never satisfying in the sense that they're always like an 8-hour shift. You're sitting in a room that has no windows. Paying complete attention to somebody that, again, I mean, stuff that's common sense or stuff that you may never even need to know.
Yeah.
But, I hate things like that. I hate things like that.
Yeah. For someone who's, like been there for a while, like in a leadership position, and then, my other jobs being like over 25 years of being a leader, like there's always room for growth, but you kind of know what works and what doesn't work with your team.
Yeah.
But like I said, for newer people, great information. For some of us that are kind of jaded, there's some stuff in there like, okay, I can take that back. But a lot of it was like, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, it's nice when it's over, and you got to do it again tomorrow, right?
I got to do it again tomorrow. But like I said, like the presenters, I've been in classes with them before. They keep it going. They keep it light. They keep it informative, but it's just long. It's out of the norm, I think, is what it is. Yeah. It's not what I'm used to, so you kind of get grumpy with that.
I hear you, man.
Because I like to be with my team when I'm at work. I like my guys.
Yeah.
Like to be with my dudes.
Hold on a minute.
Good morning, Derpy. How are you doing today?
Put that pop away, Mike. I'm not allowed to eat on here.
That was an awfully loud opening of the can, Derpy. I'd have to say.
Derpy, whose name is on the letterhead?
What letterhead? What do you keep saying this letterhead? I don't know.
On the letterhead.
It's on I've never seen a letterhead yet, Derpy. Do not fall for whatever the hell he's trying to sell you.
On the founder's agreement, on the founder's documents, it does not say Derpy.
You know what? It might. I don't know. I don't know if it does. I don't know what letterhead he's talking about, Derpy. Good morning, Tortilla Jackson. Good morning, Corey Beavers. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is episode 727 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Good morning, Corey Beaver says, good morning or afternoon for you guys. While we're waiting on a QB, we can go get Ramsey from the Dolphins and take CB off our big board. What do you guys think? Also, I do want to say, Yinzer Joe, good morning to you, sir. Good morning to Caleb. Caleb is minusing. He's docking 15 DOH points from Derpy for his tardiness. But nonetheless, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Great to see everybody. It really is. Welcome back to the show.
You know, it's another great day when the factory sadness still sucks.
What's that?
I said, you know, it's another great day when the factory of sadness still sucks.
Yeah. Richard says, Pittsburgh Derby, always late for the race. Ain't that the truth? Derby, there are a couple of things I do want to talk to you about. The Cleveland the Guardians, I'm sorry, coming to Pittsburgh over the weekend. Also, the draft next week. And, it's easy to talk a little bit, when you're a little ways out. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to this. And I think you certainly signed up for both of those. Are you going to make it down to Pittsburgh for either of those events, Derpy, to either come see the Guardians play or to go to one of the draft parties?
I don't think I'm going to make either of them.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to make it to the draft for sure next year.
Yeah. Oh, definitely got to next year. You're going to get it. Yeah. We're going to be doing big things for the draft next year. But I know it's difficult. I mean, you're a little ways out there, and that's why I just wanted to double check with you. But I got to say, these Cleveland Guardians, Derp, this should be a good series. They're not doing fantastic. They're at 9, and we're sitting at 7 and 12. So who knows? We might have some good baseball games this weekend.
For sure.
Also, speaking of dogs' buttholes, I got I seen this post on X, formerly known as Twitter. And it was let me know if either of you guys heard this. It was over in London. And they were having one of these dog. I don't know what it was. It was a dog get together. There was a bunch of people and their dogs. No, he's in between. He's in between Pittsburgh.
I chose the better city. Let's just say that.
And this video was of these people. It was a gathering. I don't know what it was, but they all had their dogs. And the one person had a real big German Shepherd. And he got a hold of one of those lap dogs, Mike. And you know how when a German Shepherds get a hold of something, they swing their head, So this
German... you're talking about the dog that bit the other dog, right?
Yeah. Don't ruin the surprise.
I'm sorry.
Lord, no, don't ruin this surprise. And he and the German Shepherd has this little lap dog, and he's doing that thing with his neck and swinging him around. And so finally, they didn't know what to do. I mean, this German Shepherd, big dog, had this little dog in its mouth, and I thought the dog was dead. I'm going to be honest.
So that's what.
Finally, this kid comes out of nowhere. And this guy, I mean, it can only happen in England. I'm going to tell you that right now.
England, yeah.
And you're going to see why in just a second. This kid, he comes running from off the camera. And he takes his finger, apparently, and starts shoving it in the dog's ass. And he was doing it in a violent manner to get the dog to drop the other dog. And he runs up, as I said, off the screen, he comes sprinting in, grabs the dog's tail with his left hand and with his right hand. And he's just, he's killing. And the first time the guy, he did it, the dog, he kind of reacted. I mean, he kind of side-eyed the kid, but he still wasn't letting go of the little dog. But then once the kid realized he wasn't going to let go, he came back in. He came back in with a vengeance. And he's just driving his finger into this dog's asshole. It was 2 or 3 times. Finally, that dog let it go. But I guess that's apparently what you're supposed to do. If you need the dog to stop doing that, shoving your finger in its butthole is like I was reading the comments of people talking about it. It's like a thing that makes the dog drop. It's supposed to make the dog just drop the other dog because there's something cramming in his butthole. But here's what I'm saying. Come on, as an American. Is there anybody you would have known in your life that would have done that? I would have watched that dog die. I could guarantee it. I would have stood there and watched the dog die. I mean, the people are trying. They're yanking at it and pulling at it and grabbing. Dude, it took that kid shoving his finger in that dog's ass 3 different times. And I mean, he's killing it. He's killing it. But he finally did drop the dog. I couldn't wait to talk about this. I was actually telling Mike a little bit about. I was already telling Mike about it yesterday. I was like, I can't wait to get back on the air. I got to talk about this dog in London, but there you go, guys. And I thought to myself, what if, I mean, does that work for everything? What if you're getting attacked by a
the
bear?
quote of the day, Mike.
Getting attacked by, like most be like in America, like I think we would be punching the dog in the face,
Yeah,
rip its mouth off,
gouging its eyes.
Yeah,
you know,
Look at
in
Tortilla
England-
Jackson.
go into the
England-
butthole certainly wouldn't have been my
Yeah.
go-to move. I got to be honest, that would not
No,
been my first thought. But this kid was he was a hero.
yeah,
to somebody.
I like it. You know what? You know, a little finger in the bum will apparently, you know, cause your mouth to open. That's how they say hello in Canada.
Exactly.
This is gonna be something we do on the show in the future. I promise you. This is gonna end up being on the show somehow. Somebody's getting a finger in their butthole. It's gonna happen. I don't
Not
care
me.
who. I don't
Not
care
me.
how. I don't care when.
Nerpy.
No. Maybe the voodoo doll.
Maybe if you you pick the wrong draft pick or something next week, we'll have you come into the studio and I'll shove our thumbs up your asshole.
Nope.
Yeah, it was worth a try. Let me get some of these messages on the board. Let's see where we at. Mark Malone says, LOL must have been a wrestler. Good morning, Mark. Nice to see you, my friend. Corey says, I can see that, but $4 million comes off contract. Okay, he's already into the Steelers. We will get to that, but heavily, I promise. The story. Caleb says the story makes him glad that he's a cat owner.
Fair enough.
Tortilla says that's how they say hello in Canada. And that's true. I've seen that. Mark Malone says, remember Finney doing it to recover a fumble.
I remember that, yeah.
Tortilla Jackson, Quebec. Caleb says it's called checking oil in wrestling. Checking the oil. That's what and I didn't want to get too discreet, but I thought of that too. It reminded me of the junior high days when you take that, one of them first girlfriends to the movie theater and you don't really know what you're doing. And you're just kind of jamming away. And I don't want to get too discreet, but that's what it reminded me of. I mean, he's really just.
I like how you're talking about jamming your finger in a butthole and you're just sitting there.
I was eating popcorn last night, and I thought I had everything.
Where did the popcorn come from?
Well, you had it hidden in the cupboard here at the studio for quite some time. It was popcorn that has M&Ms mixed in it, and I don't think you knew that I found it, but I ate the whole bag.
That's fine. That's just like you're just buttholes. Yeah, I got my finger in a butthole.
Hey, I'm just thinking this is probably gonna take me 2 hours to get this thing out of my mouth.
What a show already.
Caleb says my Jim Palmer poster doesn't deal with non-trained dogs. I'm good for your poster because you don't have fingers. Also, Caleb says, did you see the real life Jim Palmer has never had a chicken wing?
What?
Wow. I see something weird too, guys. I worked with this guy for a while, a couple years back, probably about 10 years ago. He was from out west, like Wyoming, like that way.
Uh-huh.
He never had a pierogi. He never heard of a pierogi. It wasn't that he just never had a pierogi. He's an older guy. He never heard of a pierogi. I mean, I thought I knew it was a Pittsburgh thing, but I thought that everybody kind of knew what a pierogi was. So I don't know if he's just a dumbass or what that was all about. But I don't know. I never heard of a pierogi. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Like that's blasphemy.
Tortilla says 2 dumb yinzers and thumb in theirs. Somebody's definitely getting a thumb in their ass. I don't care. Caleb says you fingered a teenager's butthole at a movie. Was it a Ghostbuster movie? No, no. It was actually regarding. You know what? We
regarding Henry.
Well, yes.
No.
Listen. Well, it was actually really interesting because I snuck in. It was Boys in the Hood. I remember. It was Boys in the Hood. It was the early '90s, and I wasn't allowed in, so we had to buy tickets to Regarding Henry to get into the movie theater. And then once we got into the movie theater, we went over to Boys in the Hood. But I remember for the longest time, I had that Regarding Henry ticket stub in a dresser drawer forever. But yeah,
because that movie says "finger me."
Yeah, by the time Ricky was getting shot in the back, I had already messed up the whole entire experience. Believe me. Again, I was, again, you're 13, you're just jamming away down there. You don't know what you're doing. I look back, I think, boy, I should really be embarrassed, man.
This might be the great.
You got to think of all them girls that go through that. Imagine the stories they have. No wonder they're all in the bathroom at the same time. They're probably talking about how terrible we are at things like this.
This might be the greatest 15 minutes of the show ever. By the way, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Got my fingernails clean that day, though. You know.
Yeah, because you're probably like.
Yeah. Caleb says, regarding Henry, you're really getting the 90s teens horny. Yeah. But that was that was the most innocent pick that we could have picked, and we did. And again, regarding Henry, I'll never forget it. Never forget it, guys. So there you go. Finger blasted during vampire kiss. So, Caleb. And when I don't know if I want to do this now or I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I know people are ready to get into some sports talk. Get ready to talk about some Steelers, guys. And I'm no different. Believe me, we're gonna hop right into this. Mike, I want to jump back on something that we left off on the other day. We tortilla. Don't laugh while my fingers up there. Corey, did you have popcorn? You know what? I don't I don't remember. Regarding Henry, I'll remember till the day I die. But I don't recall. I probably not. I mean, I probably didn't have much money, I'm guessing. But there you go. So this we're going to jump back into this, guys, just briefly. I don't want to get into it too long. However, I'm really disturbed by the Shedeur Sanders, guys, getting his number, his college number retired this Saturday at the spring game in Colorado. And this is it, and you know, this is just not a topic of conversation. I got some just some information here that I think is gonna make you agree with me if you don't already. But Derpy, how you doing today, man? See, I knew he was up to something. I could hear him clicking and fumbling around.
Good.
You doing good?
The first 20 minutes of the show talking about fingers and butts and holes, and I'm glad we're.
Is there anything you'd rather else be talking about? Come on,
I'd rather
seriously.
be talking about sports.
All right, here we go.
You know, this piques my interest, by the way.
But I'm doing good, fellas.
Caleb said, told Corey, you will know if you check his fingernails. Boy, oh boy. Let's get, come on. So this Deion Sanders son thing, this is why I think he would be a problem in Pittsburgh, as his name becomes more synonymous with the Steelers as the draft talk continues, because we are only 1 week away. This day, next week, guys, it's going to be draft day. We'll be getting ready for the big draft. Mike will be getting ready for the big show. I think him and Derpy, they're going to go live on during the draft. We're going to do a live. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope everybody joins. But the thing that I'm thinking, guys, is this. Deion Sanders, let's just say, and I don't think he's going to make it to 21. I think people are, playing their games in the draft. I think he's going to be going way before we get to pick 21. But listen to these things about Shedeur Sanders, because they're talking about him and what's the other guy, Mike?
Jackson Dart.
No, the other guy.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. They're going to retire both of these guys' numbers on Saturday. Get this. Would you say that Shedeur Sanders is worthy of having his number retired? Some might say yes. People that know what they're talking about will say no. And this is why. Cordell Stewart, former Pittsburgh Steeler / the quarterback. He played running back. He played receiver. He even punted the ball. Amazing, amazing talent. While at Colorado, he won 2 bowl games, and his teams finished top 10 twice. Shedeur Sanders never won a bowl game.
Yep.
Went 1-8 versus the Pack in his first 2 years. Somewhere right around 13-12 overall, I think his record.
Yeah.
And also he finished 8th in the Heisman chase. 8th behind the likes of Scattaboo. Who's the guy from Penn State, the white guy, Mike, that everyone, the tight end?
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren was ahead of Shedeur Sanders. He was 8th in the voting. Never won a bowl game. Mike, Tim Tebow and this is a different school, but I'm just proving my point. Tim Tebow went in college, won back-to-back national championships, won the Heisman Trophy, and you never heard of his name being brought up in Florida to retire his number. You see how annoying this could very well be with this Deion Sanders if he would end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler. And again, I don't think there's any way to happen. I just don't. You know, people are talking. At this point, 1 week for the draft, you're going to hear some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And shit that's probably so far off. But, Mike, I mean, these are going to be the kind of issues. And again, his dad's at Colorado, but again, his dad's still very proactive. If you don't think you're going to see Deion Sanders' dad on NFL sidelines on Sundays, you're out of your mind. But, you know, just those few things. Let's go back to Cordell Stewart. If they were serious about this kind of thing, and this is just one player, but just the most commonly known to us because we're Steeler fans, look at Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Look what he did. They took that Colorado Buffalo team went to national championship, lost 10-9 to Notre Dame in the early 90s. Eric Bieniemy, not even considered to have his number retired. But yet Deion Sanders, Coach Daddy, is not pushing, he's doing it. And 2 days from now, 48 hours from now, Shedeur Sanders, along with Travis Hunter, are both going to have their college Colorado Buffalo numbers retired, never to be used again by anybody ever. And when people look back and say to themselves, wow, this Shedeur Sanders must have been great. Let's look up his numbers. 13-12 overall, 1-8 versus the Pack, never won a bowl game. I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah, from what I read too, this is also, it sounds like it originated from the athletic director, is what I'm hearing.
Why didn't it originate from the athletic director when any of these greats were there?
I know, yeah. And it's unfair to the players involved. They didn't ask for this. They didn't say, hey, retire my number. And it puts a stain on them.
And one thing, before you finish, Mike, before you continue, I just want to say this. This is the stain that you're going to get with your team when you do draft or have Shedeur Sanders on. It's not going to stop at Colorado. Again, you know, I always give my opinion on Deion and how I felt about him back in the day. Again, this is Deion Sanders. You've seen what he did in pros. You've seen what he did at Jackson State. You've seen what he does in Colorado. This is going to be the package deal that you get when you draft Shedeur Sanders. I'm sorry, in next week's draft.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the player causing issues. It could be like the parent causing the issues, and that one can affect his draft status, and two, affect the way he's received by teammates, affect the way viewed by fans. You know, and then Deion, is he going to influence the team wherever he goes? And you know, the player is just trying to play, and then you got daddy in the background pulling all the strings and doing this, that. It's a disservice to the kid. Yeah, you want to, as a parent, you want to do what's best for your kid, but at a certain point, you got to be hands off and let them go do their own thing. Don't make it harder for them. You know, he already has a spotlight on him because of his last name and who his dad is. Now doing stuff like this, you in the university is making it harder on these players, which is stupid. You should be making it their transitions to the pros as easy and as seamless as possible. Then if you want to retire their numbers, do it after years have passed, or, you know, do Travis Hunter and do someone else at the same time, because
he's enrolled.
Yeah.
He's still enrolled. It isn't like it's you know, years later they retire his number.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Retire Hunter's number and do it along with a couple other guys from the past. So you're honoring the past.
Right.
And like I said the other day, you're showing recruits, hey, if you do something amazing like he did, win a Heisman, playing two positions, we're going to honor you. And that can help you with recruiting, and you're paying homage to the past. No, the university said, no, we're just going to honor what happened now. Hunter makes sense. Shedeur does not make sense. It's stupid.
And I agree. Hey, listen. As you said, if they were official, listen, it would have to be made a big thing, and talked about for years. You know, this team wants to do this, and this team wants to start retiring numbers. But that's not the case. The son is on the team. All of a sudden, he wants to retire his son and the other kid's number. It's a ridiculous thing. He wants to get the name Sanders on more shit. That's Deion. He's just a very self. I mean, I'm sure he's humbled as well. But I mean, come on, you've seen the person through his career in the NFL. He's all about Dion, and it doesn't look like that's changing. I mean, if you had any common sense in your head, you would see that this is a weird thing for Dion and his kid. Let's just do that all. Let's make all the high school quarterbacks whose dads coached them in high school and retire their number. It's retarded. Again, maybe if he had an amazing college career as well, you could also help that. That could also help the case. But Mike, this is it's stupid. It's stupid at the highest level. It's stupid, and it's got to be one of these things that we just kind of got to put our foot, as fans, and just kind of say, you know what, if that's what they do, it is what they do. Well, if we keep continuing to do that, shit's just going to keep getting stupid. Somebody ought to step up and be like, yo, retiring his number. And again, I mean, he hasn't really accomplished anything like Tebow. Let's say he goes to the pros and he isn't good in the pros. So now you got this guy at this college. You're trying to recruit football players. A guy that goes to the pros for a couple of years. Maybe he stinks it up. I mean, we don't know. We got to wait and see. But again, you're retiring his number. And again, as fans, we should hold our teams and our players and everybody to a standard. And again, it's very weird. It's bizarre. And that's why, again, we got one daddy player connection in college football, as far as I know. I mean, there may be more, but the most popular one, the daddy is retiring his son's football number. It's just weird. That's weird. No matter who you are. I don't care who you are. If it was Terry Bradshaw doing it with his son in Louisiana, I would think that was weird. Of course, Terry Bradshaw's son's probably older than we are, but that's beside the point. But that doesn't stop Terry from being a hero, does it, Mike?
No, it does not. And Terry is a fellow skillet wearer.
That's right. He sure is. Him and Hulk Hogan and Mike. Let's get back to some of these messages here, Mike. Corey says that's absurd. NFL players have to play a whole career and set records and win Super Bowls to retire their numbers, but college players just have to play 4 years and be good. And he wasn't even a 4-year player there. And the guy spent less time at his college where his numbers retired than you spent in your high school as a student. I mean, Ginger Joe says the word pierogi is Polish term meaning filled dumpling. It's a national dish in Poland. It was introduced by immigrants to us in the 1900s, and we just cannot get enough of them. That Mrs. T, she puts that 13th pierogi in that box. You better believe. I'm in a good mood that day.
Oh, hell yeah. I like all kinds of pierogies. I want all the pierogies.
Give me all the pierogies you could give me. There are pierogi places here. As a matter of fact, there's one just right across the going the one way across the bridge that I've only had once, but I tell you, everything on that menu looks great. Pierogies, man.
I know what I'm having for lunch today.
Caleb says the word. Okay, that was Caleb.
They both got that one in there, that comment back to back.
They sure did. Didn't
they were on it. You got some pierogi enthusiasts.
That threw me off. Yeah. Mark Malone said he's going to have a Ryan Leaf-like professional career. Boy, that's a tough act to follow. I got to be honest.
I don't think it's going to be that. If it's bad, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
If anybody could pull off a Ryan Leaf type career, he wasn't a 1, but he was certainly a high pick. I know that.
Oh, he was a disaster. Oof. Him and Jamarcus Russell, two of the biggest busts of all time.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Also, Tortilla Jackson says this. He says, I can see retiring Hunters because he won the Heisman, and we haven't seen a player like him really before. But what did Shador do? Good stats, but best season was 9 wins. And even Charles Johnson, who did the same exact thing. You didn't see Michigan run off and retire his number. He was a star at offense and star on defense and top pick, and I think he even had a pretty damn good career. But and even Dion, maybe that's it. Maybe this is just Dion living his life through his son, and he really thought that his college number should have been retired at Florida State, and now he's kind of giving it back in a way. And I don't know. Who knows? It's bizarre. Anyway, you slice it. Tortilla says also that's like the Steelers retiring Le'Veon Bell's number. Like, yeah, you were good, but no. Hey, right. P. Morton, what's up, brother? Good morning to you. He says they helped make Colorado somewhat relevant again. Who was watching Colorado? But was it for the right reasons though? I like Colorado in the early 90s when they had Darian Hagan under center, Eric Bieniemy. They went to the national champion. That's what you're right. I think that's why you're supposed to get into your teams because of their accomplishments. Where this team is basically gaining popularity because of who Deion Sanders is, I think. Again, an 8-9, whatever the record. I mean, we gave the numbers. If the numbers were a lot better, maybe we could have this conversation. But Tortilla says, so retire Deion's foot or something.
Oh.
Like put it in the case of Colorado. Yeah, I do. I'd rather see that nub hanging up on a banner than seeing. Come on, it's weird. It's too freaking weird for me, man. And again, this is what you're going to sell. Well, maybe I should go to that college. If I play, have a half-ass career, maybe they'll retire my number. Maybe this isn't. Maybe this is appealing. Andrew Joe says Sanders was a 4-star recruit. Hunter was a 5-star. Any player like that going to one of the worst colleges ever should be expected to turn the college around. And another thing, I mean, did they really turn it around? This team, again, didn't win any bowl games. And again, they really bad. Had not a good record against the Pac. 1-8. So that's all I'm saying. P says this. P says Shador did take 94 sacks in 2 seasons. There you go. That's it. Now, if we're going on accomplishments, there is something to hang your hat on.
It may be bad luck.
Retire his number. Maybe bad luck.
That might be their thinking. Just get that thing out there so the next guy who wears number 2 doesn't get destroyed.
I think the enemy was 1 and Hagan was 3. But number two is going to be the one that's retired. And again, both pretty damn good careers. Not the greatest, but Eric Bieniemy, come on, that guy, the size of his trunks, his upper legs when he was in college, they would literally comment about it every game because his thighs were so huge.
I'm going to piggyback off that for a second. It was I was watching some younger guys. They were talking about football, giving some good analysis. They were talking about slow running back times. What's the lowest you would take? And someone brought up Jerome Bettis' time and how one of the kids was like, you know what? I can't even fathom a human being that size playing running back anymore. And someone was like, yeah, our generation, we're too low T to have a guy that big anymore.
Tortilla says his number is imprinted in the grass all over the field. They might have to retire or pay for a new field. Did they do that? Is their number? Is this number? No,
from being sacked so many times.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, that just makes it more of a joke.
Well, that's why he'd be the perfect quarterback for the Steelers. He's used to a bad offensive line. He can operate. He knows what he's expecting, man.
Yeah. So there you have it. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Derpy, what do you think about this? Again, I just think that it's something that's just messing up sports because some fucking guy has an idea and it's going through. It's not just an idea. Again, 2 days from now, it's happening. It's just one of these dumb things. Over time, we're just like, oh, well, who cares? But over time, you get so many of these moments. Let me for an example. People, some people like the NIL. Oregon's basketball team lost every single player. Yes, there were some that retired or graduated. I'm sorry. I think 1 or 2 even might have went to the NBA, Mike. But every player on Oregon's basketball team gone to the portal. They have no players. So again, I mean, do these things add up over time and create problems? I think they do, but let's just again, for the sake of the conversation, what do you think, Derpy? What do you think about this? About Deion Sanders' son getting his number retired on Saturday?
I think he's a spoiled brat.
That's the way it comes off, right?
Right.
Mike, you usually have something combative to say. What's the devil's advocate take on this?
Like I said before, it's the university and the coach doing, and therefore now somehow that's reflective on the players who they had no say in this. And it's not fair to them. And like you said, it's not fair to the guys who had great careers in the past while you're not honoring them.
He's coming into the pro and getting his number. Tortilla makes a good point. But he's getting his number retired out of college, but he's not going to be able to get his number off of Mason Rudolph, the career third stringer, if he comes to the Steelers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just really I read that.
No, that's not too. No, yeah, and that's just again, it's like, and we sit here and make fun of the player who has no say in the decision. So that's why I think the university.
Well, maybe he comes up to the podium and says, "You know what? This is kind of crazy. My dad's being crazy. It's a funny thought, and it would be really cool to happen. But I got to be honest. I really didn't do." Enough as a football player. I didn't even attend the college. I did all the which is I have no problem with. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, dude.
If you take home,
online,
that's fine. Yeah. But here he is, a guy that barely ever at the campus, didn't have a great college career. Basically, if it wasn't for talking heads, a lot of people probably wouldn't even still know about this. And of course, if his dad wasn't Deion Sanders, he would be even further down the chart. So again, that's just kind of where I'm at. Just in an overall thing, it just stinks for sports. I just again, they can do what they want, and they're going to do what they want.
Well, this is like Indy, the Colts raising the banners that they made it to an AFC Championship game, and someone in hockey was putting that they all the Capitals before they won Stanley Cups raising President's Trophy. Oh, we won the President's Trophy. That's our banner.
Understandable because it's a team accomplishment.
But you didn't win. No, the Indy didn't win a Super Bowl.
The President's Trophy means you won more games than anybody else in the league that year. That's an accomplishment.
And getting bounced in the second round of the playoffs.
Which is generally the case. Most President's Trophy winners does lose the first round.
Yeah, and
that's come on. Try winning more games than anybody else in hockey. That's gotta be.
Difficult. Other teams have won the President's Trophy, didn't raise banners up. They, hey, we didn't banners.
This is singling out these two players.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem is because they're not great. They weren't great.
Travis
Hunter could they be great in the NFL? Maybe. But no, one of the guys, he was great. But again, this Colorado team, again, just doesn't sit well with people. But just keep doing this college football. Listen, they're making ground, I think, by adding teams in the playoffs. But there's a lot of other things that I think that are hurting. So if it evens itself out and college football is okay, I'm all right. But again, so many things, and then you just get to a point where you're a league that's screwed like the NBA. And then what do you do to fix that? How do you rebound and reinvent the NBA? I mean, they're having a lot of problems with ticket sales and things like this. I mean, kids love the jerseys and the shoes. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But the league is struggling because of a lot of bad decisions over the years. And they're like, well, that's okay. This will be fine. Well, that's not smart. That's not smart business.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Let's see. What else do we got here? Like, this is something else I'm seeing. Speaking of quarterbacks. No, I heard about this over the weekend last week, and I don't know how much water it holds. But Aaron Rodgers, apparently, from what I hear, according to Sports Illustrated, Aaron Rodgers pitched to the Vikings for a 1-year run, and he will be a willing mentor for J.J. McCarthy. I think ultimately maybe that's what he really wants, as we said earlier on, Mike, because he has a more ideal situation for a 41-year-old quarterback who probably doesn't want to participate in everything to make the team better. He's coming to a team that was just they were a playoff team. They had a lot of wins last year. They have a good line. He has excellent receivers.
Oh, arguably the best.
The defense is great.
But can never get it done.
But his pitch is to the Vikings, according to Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
Where he wants to have a 1-year run back. He wants to run 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, again, he has the most ideal situation. Let's see if we could win something is probably his thought. Doing the least amount of work. And he will also be happy to mentor J.J. McCarthy, which, again, for Minnesota can't be a bad thing. But is this the reason? Is this the reason that we're being yanked around and we're kind of being held in place? Because he has, so again, these quarterbacks that a lot of people would love to have because, again, let's face it, one guy was a multi-MVP in the NFL. So who wouldn't like to have somebody with these pedigrees? But when you peel back the layers, that's when it really starts to stink.
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers, with Shedeur Sanders. So hopefully, all these garbage stories, that's just what it turns out to be for the month between free agency and the draft. And it comes back down to reality here in the next, over the next week. teams draft accordingly and smart and don't do all this stupid things that, again, we're down to the last week, Mike, before the draft. Who knows what you're going to hear? Who knows what you're going to hear over the next 7 days? But again, I expect this to kind of even out somewhere, Mike, as we get closer to the draft.
Yeah, you look at what 2 years ago. At this time, reports came out that apparently C.J. Stroud was so dumb he couldn't pass finger painting. And you go, look, he had a top 5 rookie year as a quarterback, making unbelievable plays. So this time of the year, the week before the draft, all the stories that are coming out, not of just the draft, but free agents that are available, all the smoke screens that teams and agents and reporters are putting out there on behest of agents in the team are going to be wild stories. All of a sudden, you're going to see a guy who was rated a top 10 player somehow the week before the draft, 2 days before the draft, he's plummeting down draft boards because he picked his nose and wiped it on Susie Q in 4th grade. You're going to see all these crazy reports coming out. This time of the year, you just have to filter through the BS. And, when you just find the information that sounds plausible to your team of like decisions they've made in the past, stuff that they have said themselves on record, not off record through a source, through another source of, this is what we're hearing. You gotta really dig deep through the bullshit this time of the year to find out what is actually going on.
Let me get to Corey. Corey says 4 years is not long enough to build a career resume to warrant retiring a number unless he won a chip every year and broke every passing record that gives a false sense of entitlement. And sets unrealistic expectations for his pro career. Inter Joe says, just 5 years ago, we were all making fun of the participation trophy. I think this is kind of along the same line.
In general, for college, like, your career in college is only going to be 4 years. So if you're going to retire a number, it's going to be based off those 4 years. So you put that in context. That is enough time to where if you
did he play 4 years?
No, I'm not saying it.
Okay.
I'm not saying Shador Sanders. I'm saying in college in general. I'm answering Corey as a general college type thing. That'd be like, Penn State going, we're going to retire Saquon Barkley's number because he broke rushing records. He broke touchdown records. He, finished second in the
college.
Heisman.
Being that it's 4 years only, Mike, every year college records get broken. You know what I mean? If they're constantly getting broken at a college level because it's only 4 years. A player has 4. Let's use for an example. Who's the guy you just said? The running Barkley. Let's just say he breaks a record at Penn State, and then in a 4-year period of time, and then 5 years from now, somebody else is going to come along and break that record. College records are constantly broken. So I mean, by the time you retired, everybody that deserved it, according to that, you wouldn't have any numbers. Everybody would be 00, looking like old video games from the 90s, all running around 88 or 00 in your back. I want to like it, Mike. I just can't.
Yeah, but it's say someone only a starter for 2 years, and then they break records that were held for 20, 30 years. That would have to be the exception right there. They did something in such a short amount of time that people who started 4 years couldn't break. You got to label, not retire their number, but put their name in their Hall of Honor. I think that's what should be done at Colorado. They shouldn't retire numbers.
Would we agree?
They should have made a Hall of Honor and put their names up there.
Can we agree that this is crazy?
It's crazy.
Okay. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. But you know what? That's their university. They can do what they want to do. It's not my team. Yeah. It's not my team. It's a fun debate. Oh, I know. It's a fun debate to have.
Talk. So we're just,
I agree with you, dude. It's a fun debate to have. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Ken Wisenhunt. A lot of people might remember him. He was a very successful offensive coordinator here in Pittsburgh. He steps down as head coach from the Memphis Showboats. He was the head coach of the Memphis Showboats over in UFL. How the mighty has fallen, I guess you could say, because this dude was, again, the offensive coordinator for Super Bowl winning teams. And but somebody like Ken Wisenhunt, I mean, come on, the guy knows the job so well and was so successful. And I'm not saying go and get Ken Wisenhunt, but I'm just saying there's so many people out there that's qualified for these jobs that the Steelers are giving. I feel that aren't that great of pickups for assistant coaches, coordinators, things like this. But Mike, is that? And again, it's tough because people would say Arthur Smith was a good coordinator, but then he went to Atlanta and he wasn't a good head coach.
Yeah.
Ken Wisenhunt was a good coordinator and he wasn't a good head coach in the UFL. So I mean, and again, this kind of comes back to just my beef with, a lot of times there's really good candidates out there, and the Steelers always tend to go with the lower. Do they do that for a reason, Mike? Do you think that they always they never really go after the big coordinators' names, or do they? Is that a money thing? Is that a preference thing? A lot of people say Mike Tomlin he hires down. He doesn't want anybody. And again, this is speculation. They think that he doesn't want anybody to kind of come in and show him up as far as a coach in any capacity. Why is it, Mike, that we do that? And do you think that Ken Wisenhunt could go somewhere again one day in the NFL and be a successful coordinator?
Mark Aboli has reported that, Art Rooney has a set value that he wants to pay for assistant coaches and doesn't want to pay more than that. And his dad had the opposite philosophy of, we're going to get the best. And if you have one or two bad years, you're going to hire someone else. Yeah. So again, when you get to that third generation in the family running a business, you lose a lot of the acumen, and he's not a football guy. Kenny Wisenhunt, usually, like, if you're down there coaching in those lower leagues, there's a reason for it. There's a reason. Like,
when you have Super Bowl wins as a coordinator, that's a pretty big accomplishment, though. I mean, if you're getting your number retired for being a semi-good college football player, somebody that won a Super Bowl as or as a semi-good football player, and then having somebody who's won a Super Bowl as a coordinator, I would lean toward giving the guy who won a Super Bowl as a coordinator a job before I gave a semi-great player a retired number in football. I just think that that's common sense knowledge. You go with the guy who got it done, who has a resume, and you wouldn't retire a guy that did nothing. To me, that just seems backwards.
Yeah, his last coaching job in the NFL was 2019, offensive coordinator for the Rams.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, the Chargers. And he hasn't been in the pros since. And, he was a failed head coach at Tennessee, had the lost Super Bowl with Arizona.
Again, you take Arizona to the Super Bowl. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, that was a pretty good team, though.
I mean, nobody's ever took Arizona to the Super Bowl ever besides him.
But that was a good team, though.
They had an aged quarterback. He had an aged quarterback.
Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame wide receivers.
Okay, and what else?
They had a really good defense that year. So
try convincing anybody with that. I mean, come on, that's not really.
No, that's the facts.
It wasn't the facts because they win the division with like a not that great record. It was kind of a fluky team,
kind of like the Steelers when they won.
Okay, I'm not arguing what the Steelers did. What they're not doing. I'm just saying Arizona. If you could if anybody in the history of ever, which only one person did, takes that franchise to the Super Bowl and comes within 4 points of beating the Steelers.
Yeah,
I like that. I like what they do with their job. That's all I'm saying. That's accomplishing things.
Well, the NFL is saying that they really don't like what he did with the job.
I don't care. The NFL. Do you listen to everything that they like when they don't like? That's
I'm saying. Like 32 organizations seem to deem that he is not even worthy of a offensive pass game coordinator.
But he won a Super Bowl as a coordinator and took a team to a Super Bowl that's never been there as a head coach. Is all I'm saying. That's accomplishments. I don't care about opinion of the league. Those are accomplishments that you want to see on a resume when you're hiring somebody. I would think accomplishments. That's good. Why is this bad?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the 32 organizations say he does not have what it takes to be an offensive coordinator anymore.
The Cardinals didn't like what he did. The Steelers didn't like what he. Come on, that's crazy. He won. He did more than most other people has ever done in the league.
Yes, but apparently the game.
As long as you understand that, okay.
They have. I understand that. I'm presenting arguments as to why he's probably not in the league anymore.
I mean, they're terrible, but I'll listen.
Maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't want to work in the NFL anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
These are all.
That's obviously. I mean, obviously, if he didn't want to be the coach, but that's not the conversation. I mean, you see that, right?
And I'm telling you, apparently, real quick, 32 organizations think he is not worthy of being anywhere on their coaching.
And that's not what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing what the organizations are saying. I'm saying he took a team that was 9-7, This team wasn't great. I'm looking at the record right now. They won a bad division. Nobody else in the division had a 500 record or better. They won with a 9-7 record. They got into the Super Bowl. Come on, this wasn't a great team, and this was on the downside of Kurt Warner's Hall of Fame career. I think we could agree on that. So again, I mean, I think we're arguing too much about this, but again, they'll be happy to hire somebody who's a piece of garbage like Matt Canada, and guys that have no experience whatsoever. I would take somebody who has a resume. That's all I'm saying. Somebody that has good accomplishments. I don't think I'm making a bad argument.
If someone has a good resume, good history, but their current, let's say their success was 15 years ago.
Our head coach, we can't want to playoff game like in 10 years.
I'm not arguing him. I'm arguing Ken Whisenhunt.
But I'm making a comparison for you to see. Okay,
yeah,
good.
But apparently the NFL, like the Pittsburgh Steelers say, Mike Tomlin, we trust him to lead this organization. 32 teams are saying we don't.
And now fans everywhere realizes this is a joke. But go ahead, yeah.
Oh my God!
What?
But anyway,
Mike, no, people were finding out, or finally starting to say Tomlin only.
I know. I know. We've had 45 segments on that conversation in the past month.
No, so I'm making the correlation.
But I'm saying 32 organizations don't think Ken Whisenhunt has what it takes to be an offensive coordinator anymore. Even you might have had success in the past, but they don't think you're going to have it in the future. That's what happens.
All right. Well, that's fair. All right, Derpy. Have a good one, brother.
Oh, my Derpy. I didn't know he was sleeping. My bad, bro.
We do got to move on. I can't talk about this much longer, Mike. But I do want to say that also Isaiah, what was his name? Isaiah Buggs, draft pick for the Steelers.
Yeah.
He was in trouble, apparently, some kind of cruelty to animals down in Arkansas or Alabama or wherever he's living. And apparently he got off. They cleared him.
Yeah.
But if he would have got convicted, they were talking about hard labor.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. I don't know much about the South, but I got to be honest with you. I didn't even know that sending guys out to bust blocks with those, the chain on your ankle and, like they used to, I didn't know that was still a thing. But, when you think about it, I guess that if anywhere, the South seems like that was where, Mike, he was almost, if he would have been convicted, he would have been in hard labor prison.
Because that happened, in the last offseason, I saw that because that's like a lot of Chief players were getting arrested, and he had other legal problems too. So it was like a continuation of what it was. And then that last one, they're like, if this goes through, buddy, this is what's going to happen to you because you keep doing this over and over. Yeah, that's why.
We should get Isaiah Boggs in next week on the show for the draft week.
Oh God, no! Please, no.
He's got to be happy that somebody's paying it. That somebody wants positive attention from him. You know what I mean?
No. No, we can't go from Tim Worley to Isaiah Buggs.
I know. Yes, Tim Worley was here last year for the draft league. The second highest draft pick in Steeler history since the Super Bowl era. Mike, let me get into some of these messages on the board. I'm going to start right here with Tortilla Jackson. Didn't Kenny break Marino's records? Players got that extra year. Well, Kenny was about 34 when he left.
He was there since the Hoover administration.
Yeah, he got they got the extra year because of COVID. Really made them look better than they were, which is a good point. But yeah, he did. He broke a lot of Dan Marino's records. That's why I thought he was going to be good. You know what I mean? It's hard to break. Again, broke an all-time record. So is this guy's going to be great and be a great football player professionally? Not at all. But yet he broke one of the greatest records in college football. So it's hard. It's tough, man.
Yeah. Different eras, the games played differently too. And that's why you're seeing some of these records fall too. So it's
but Dan Marino threw constantly. A lot of people don't realize that. They based that offense and team around him for how many years he was there. And they brought in Clayton and Duper and all these receivers because all he did was just pass. And of course, against that is in Miami and not at Pitt, but I'm sure in the Pitt days he was throwing a lot too.
Yeah.
Tortilla says a lot of colleges just give their best players certain numbers, like number 7 at LSU. Yep. A lot of great players in college in the NFL were the same numbers. Tortilla also said from the same school. And then Mark Malone says, are we talking about Arian or Whisenhunt? Whisenhunt was the coach of Memphis.
The Whisenator.
Besides for that, there wasn't a whole lot of Steelers scoop, Mike. I gotta be honest. Any other gridiron scoop that you were able to dig up?
Dude, there's not a lot coming out of Pittsburgh right now.
It's
Like
the calm before the storm.
it is too. Like this is usually the time to this. Like no matter who's like the GM or in charge of the team, like the week before the draft, that's usually when the Steelers stop. Things are on lockdown. Like nothing's getting in or out from the organization, so it's kind of a dead time for them. They're running through all their mocks. They just finished up all their pre-draft visits, so got to be reviewing film. So they're probably not going to be talking a whole lot.
Yeah, I look at it as it's the calm before the storm. I
Yep.
mean, it's getting ready to take off here in the next week. I assume we're probably gonna have a new quarterback, whether it be the quarterback of the future that we see,
Yep.
whether it be a guy that we draft, and who knows? Who knows, guys? We have 1 week, Mike, and I'm seeing a lot of people now at the at the end of the road. Again, I don't know if this is just where we're at in the rumor mill, but it seems like a lot of people are leaning in the favor, Mike, of the defensive line first round draft pick, which again we need desperately, really, really desperately, with Larry Ogunjobi leaving, with Cam aging, and with Benton underperforming, and the other cast of characters they have behind them. But at the end of the day, Mike, I think they're going to catch a lot of heat because there's so much, so much to be desired still on the offensive side of the ball. If they would get the best possible player in their draft, it would be the defensive player. I don't know how well that's going to sit with people. Are people going to be sitting out at the stadium next week like they're doing to the Pirates? Not at all. Are people going to boo the team like they're doing to the Pirates? No, they're not. But at the end of the day, Mike, I think it would make people feel uneasy just because the lack of offense we've been able to perform or produce over the past couple of years. If you went with the defensive lineman, I think people are going to start getting a little irritated. I think you have to hit something in the offense. You have to hit the best player at one of those spots, or you get your defensive lineman. I can't justify getting him in the with your very first pick.
Yeah, like quarterback, like I said, like in this draft class, they're all second, third, fourth round, fifth, seventh round picks. But
that's where we kind of luck out.
But they get over drafted, like because you can this D line class is deep. If you want like a full blown guy that's going to be out there every single snap on the defense causing havoc, you're going to get like a Walter Nolan or a Kenneth Grant. Or you can just wait and there's guys in there that are just going to be solid pros that you're like, oh my God, I'm glad I have this guy. They're not going to be flashy like Cam Hayward was when he was younger. You might get like a Stephon Tuitt type guy later in the draft. Just steady. You know what you're getting. So you can wait a little bit to address the D line. But if they start getting a run on D linemen, you're kind of screwed. So maybe they're thinking we get one in the first, we can get more good receivers in the third round, get a quarterback in the third, fourth round, maybe in that way. That's why I want them to trade back. I'm glad we got DK Metcalf, but not having that second round pick sucks. Because like in the first round, like if you look at the wide receivers that could potentially be there, Luther Burden, M'Baka, Golden, Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, he's rising up the draft boards. You can get one of those guys and pair him with the receivers that you have potentially, because you might lose George Pickens and Calvin Austin next year too. So you got to get a guy in there for this year and next year too. Maybe take a reach on a running back in the first round because you need one. You probably get one in the third round, but if you think a guy's there in the first, take him. So I'm with you. Like I would like to see an offensive player, but I'm also, I'm on record as saying I wouldn't be opposed to a defensive lineman because that's a need too. Yes, we need a lot of help on offense, but that D line too could, I think that could help us out. But like you said, man, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, every position but tight end. Honestly,
let me clear this up a little bit, Mike. Pittsburgh obviously looking to take a running back, obviously looking to take a defensive lineman, but these are the 34 total visitors that the Steelers had with their pre-draft visits, their top 30 and local visits. There was 4 quarterbacks, 9 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 offensive tackle, 9 defensive linemen. So running back and defensive linemen, they had 9 of each leading the way. 3 cornerbacks, 2 safeties, and 1 kicker. Mike, this is a list. This is a list of those players. Shedeur Sanders, as far as the quarterbacks go, Sanders, Dart, Show, and McCord were all their top 30 picks as far as quarterbacks go. Their running backs, Marion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Trevion Henderson, Dylan Sampson, Jaden Blue, Ollie Gordon II, Bayshaw Tootin, DJ Giddens, and RJ Harvey. Those were all the running backs that visited the Steelers. As far as wide receivers, Marcus Golden, of course, from Texas, Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins, I'm sorry, Savion Williams. Those are your wide receivers that visited the Steelers. Your tight end was Gavin Bartholomew from Pitt. Offensive tackle, Wyatt Millam from West Virginia. Let's see. And then we're going to go over to the defensive tackles, where there's nine.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Jamarie Caldwell out of Oregon. Darius Alexander from Toledo. J.J. Pegas from Ole Miss. Yaya Black from Iowa. Joshua Farmer from Florida State. Jared Harrison Hunter from SMU. Elijah Roberts from SMU. Those are all their defensive tackles brought in the visit from their top 30 picks, or their top 30 visits, Mike. And then we get into the defensive ends, which is Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. Then to the cornerback position, Zaire Thomas from Florida State, Justin Wally from Minnesota, Trey Amos from Ole Miss, and then two safeties, Nick Emmanuel Worry from South Carolina, Donovan McMillan from Pitt, and then the kicker Ben Sauls from Pitt as well. So those are the 34 visitors, Mike. One of these guys are going to be our pick. There's no two ways about it. I would be, extremely surprised to see if they weren't. Mike, that's a pretty good list of young men to try to want to build your team with. And anybody on this list you just love more than anybody else?
Oh, wow. Hampton, Marion Hampton. I love him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Caleb Johnson. I like Derek Harmon on the D line. Some of these guys like Pegas, you can get him probably in the 4th round if he's there. I think that'd be a steal. That safety from South Carolina, Nick Emmanuel, that dude is a athletic freak. If he could translate into being like a next Troy Polamalu, that would be awesome. But I don't think he's going to be there. But he's covering your bases. Some of these guys it will probably be picked before we get there. But if one of them falls, you can snag them up. But yeah, like for first round though. Do you take the running back in the first round, Hampton? And do you take Harmon, the D lineman, in the first round? Those are like the guys that I would see as first round picks. You're not going to take Shamar Stewart in the first round to play outside linebacker edge with the guys that we have, unless you're saying TJ Watt, you're going. Here's your backup for we got our replacement for you. But no, you can kind of see what they're going to be drafting early in the draft. Quarterback, running back, D-line, and probably wide receiver are their top 4 picks.
Let me catch up on some of these messages, Mike, because I'm seeing some that's that's very interesting here. See, Mark Malone says his hair is getting longer. Also, hopefully Howard and Show will be there in the 3rd. Mark Malone says DK, Roman, Fry are all locked up long term. Also, Mark Malone. Big C, what's up, man? Big C says no DT at 21. Mark Malone says, Yinzers, do they come with pointy white hats?
No, they do not. No, because I told him he's talking about he's getting on board with taking a D line in the first round. I was like, we have awesome robes, and he has to have pointy white hats. No, they do not.
Why is it always white hats with you? What's going on? What's
not me.
That's not on with you. Like, did you just scare somebody away from the show recently with your rhetoric?
We do not have pointy white hats. We actually have little cool beanies that say D line or bust.
Let's see. Big C says 6 rank run defense, 26 pass, shit offensive line, no quarterback, no running back. I don't draft defense. See, that's what I'm saying. I think that let me continue. And I'm going to get back to your point in 2 seconds, Big C. Yinzer Joe says the defense. Let's see. The defense got run over their last 6 games. We need defense. Okay, that was where I wanted to get before I got back to you, Big C. Because don't get me wrong, we do need defensive line. We absolutely need defensive line. But I think a defensive lineman is not going to change your defense around. Your defense is not going to all of a sudden stop letting up 40 points per playoff game because you draft one guy. Can he be can he be part of the whole that obviously makes a lot of problems? Yes, but I think that a lot of the defense is certainly aged, overpaid, and underperforming. That you bring in a rookie, he could be a beast. Is that guy going to get you less points given up in the playoffs as we've been giving up 40 plus points every season that we've made the playoffs? I think that's why it's crazy to not go after an offensive player, as Big C's saying here. We have so many needs at the offense on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, skill play. You can't go into the season again without having a quarterback. We have the luxury of having two good running backs. We do need to shore that room up a little bit. Again, as I always say, Mike, George Pickens is not going to be around after this season, and unless they decide to go Cincinnati and give all their money to just a couple players and then have everybody else suffer. And that's why they have no defense whatsoever. Yeah. But you have to we have a quarterback situation. We're deficient in running back. We'll be deficient in the future at wide receiver. The offensive line is still young and very injury prone at this point, guys. I can't justify going away from a first pick on the offense. When even though I do need, and believe me, we do need a defensive lineman, and one of these dominant defensive linemen will be just amazing for years and years to come. But at this point, I can't imagine, with all the holes that we have in the offense, that we don't go offense number one. Will I hate it if they take the defensive player, the tackle? No, I'm not going to hate it, but come on. I mean, let's just, like I said, yes, the defense has to give up less than 40 in the playoffs as well, Mike, but that offense, they have to be able to score some points as well. That's who's winning Super Bowls. It's the teams that move the ball at will, the teams that can score a lot of points. And you know what? To be honest, some of these defenses, last year, Detroit put up, 52 points in the game. They let up 48. Yeah. You got to be able to score more than the other team. We have lots of holes opposed to that one position on the line. Maybe more, again, with the aging Cam Hayward, obviously. Yeah. I think, Mike, I don't think there's any way that I would go away from taking an offensive player in the first round.
Yeah, for me though too, it all depends who's there. Like if one of the higher rated D tackles is there and all the skill position players are rated way lower, you trade back or just take the best guy available at that point. Right. And that's when it becomes tricky right there. So like I won't be opposed if they take, a skill position player or a stud D lineman. Like both are holes, both need filled immediately. Like you almost can't go wrong in the first round, and that's what's making me worried. Like we will go wrong somehow.
All right, let's jump back in it, guys. Okay. Tortilla says if we take Harmon round 1 and land Henderson round 3, I will be excited.
That would be nice.
Big C also says we got ran over because there's too many 3 and outs on offense. That creates a problem for what do they always say? Like the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah,
but we don't have either. So
yeah, I know, right?
Where does that put us? Yender Joe says the defense still has to stop them, and now we don't have GP. We just have GP. We also have DK. Don't get me wrong; things are going to get better because of DK. There's no two ways about it. We upgraded immensely by getting DK Metcalf, and he's going to be a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong; he's going to be a blast. But guys, still a lot of work. And again, after this season, let's just say we do build a little momentum. We get to the end of the year. Let's say we win a playoff game finally, and then we're back in the drawing board because now we need another wide receiver. We don't have a starting. We don't have a number 2 again. All we have is a number 1 going into the following season. So let's just say you do build a little bit of that momentum, and you want to carry it over to the next season. You're already depleting. You're depleted that at that position. So again, maybe focusing on that again. I personally like the offensive pick first. Let me get into it because I see people are pretty. We're getting a lot of good comments here, Mike. Mark Malone says Genty DL or trade back. I think Genty's gonna be gone. I don't think there's any way Genty will be sitting there at 21.
If he does, you run to the podium.
See, I don't like draft card. I don't like that pick, but Mike loves that pick. He would love to have Genty. I don't think he's making it there for 1. For 2, there's a reason that everyone is passing on him. But let's go to the next one here. Big C says Patrick Queen was a ghost. I want to see more out of Patrick Queen next year. I thought I was getting
more.
something a lot more effective with him.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the game that Ryan Shazier put on the field, but Patrick Queen isn't even in that ballpark. I got to be honest.
He had games where you're like, yes, this is what you want to see, and then he had games where like, dude, what the f are you doing out there? And it made your head scratch.
Yinzer Joe said the defense still has to stop them. Okay, we already got that. Mark Malone says, I'm telling you, Mike. Wait, I'm telling you, Mike is not actually bald. Me thinks he likes a little skin on his. Okay. P says,
he's trying to paint me into a box.
I see that. He's saying, let's see, need the offense to burn more clock. And some EPO for the defense. Tortilla says with the DTs we brought on in the visits, I'm almost sold that we're taking one in the middle rounds, which is where I think would be the safe place to take. But again, that's just my opinion, guys. Unless Harmon is BPA, I don't think we take him at 21, but I like him and think we can land a running back on day 2. Big C says Eagles no playoff. Get Saquon Barkley. Super Bowl. No DT has ever boosted a team to the Super Bowl. You know what? I agree with that theory. But boy, I sure like that Jalen Carter. He's a monster. I would love to have Jalen Carter on our defensive line.
Like that front four in that Super Bowl. Holy shit, they dominate. They just totally disrupted that team. But I get what you're saying, though.
Let me jump down. I see Derpy saying something, and Derpy just chimed in. He said, I just wanted to stop in and say breaking news. Rodgers will be on the Pat McAfee show today.
Ooh. Rodgers watch.
There you go. Yeah. All right, there you go, everybody. Rodgers watch on the Pat McAfee show. Tune in after we wrap things up here. Also, Mike, the Joseph. So, Ryan, you're saying the Bungles are doing it right. I'm not saying that at all. Because their offense is great, but their defense is garbage. But the thing is, our defense, in theory, shouldn't be garbage, right? We pay out the most money in the whole entire league. The whole league. Nobody pays their defense more money than we do. So, I mean, you know, so that's not where I'm going. But I get what you're saying. But that's not what I'm saying. The thing is, they have those 3 weapons on offense, and they're giving all their money to them. They have nothing else. We don't have those 3 positions. We don't have a starting quarterback. The starting running back, and then also again the receivers here after the season. It's going to be an issue again. Mark Malone, I'm sure he'll be gone, but yeah, Tortilla. I heard Vegas has. You know what? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking every time I think of Ashton Gentry, I think of Las Vegas Raiders. I feel him going to the Raiders. I just do. That's the same here, Tortilla.
Raiders are Cowboys.
Tortilla follows that up by saying, I'm thinking about betting he goes before then. Yinzer Joe says Eagles also drafted 2 stud. Oh, no, 2 ways. How the Eagles get these drafts? My God.
Everyone just fell to them.
They got every player that we want, every player that we talked about that we said that we would want last year in the draft, Mike. The cornerback from Toledo, the white guy from Iowa, the year before, Mike, they got Jalen Carter. They have not had their drafts are immaculate. Immaculate.
And a lot of it too was just sitting there, letting the teams in front of them fill their needs, and then Quinion Mitchell falls in their lap. Round 2, round 3, Cooper DeJean falls into their lap. Jalen Carter, fell to 9th overall. A lot of skill. Don't get me wrong, a lot of skill in what Howie Roseman does with his draft picks, moving up and down the board, but a lot of luck too. And
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to make his. I think Derpy thinks he's going to make an announcement saying he's going to be the Steelers quarterback. I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Nah.
Where the hell's Derpy at? He had to leave. Now he's telling me he's.
I know he's coming back. Hollywood Derpy, man. He's always on the move, always dialed in.
Let's see. I just want to finish what Yinzer Joe says. He says Eagles drafted 2 stud corners along with Saquon Barkley coming in, perfecting the tush push. Also, don't get me wrong. Everything they do right now is turning to gold. I think the worst situation could possibly happen is if the Eagles turning into the new franchise, the new dynasty. I don't have a problem with them winning every now and then, but can you imagine if the Eagles, the hated Philadelphia team from across the state, became the team that the Steelers were in contention for? But again, everything they touch right now, Mike, it's turning to gold. You got to like what they're doing as a football fan. Tortilla says, Aaron Donald, I know there isn't really an Aaron Donald in this draft, but he certainly was a huge part of their Super Bowl. Absolutely. Aaron Donald was such a huge part of that team. Of course, from the Penn Hills.
Yeah.
Not too far from here. Pitt also. Let's see. Mark Malone says that Tortilla Jackson sounds like a good bet. Big C. So, Joe, who did the Steeler fans want in round 1? We all wanted Cooper DeJean. We traded up to 12 to get Broderick. We could have traded to 9 and got Carter, but we weren't. Yeah, remember, wasn't the Jalen Carter draft? Wasn't that Kenny Pickett?
No.
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 Who was our number 1 pick when Jalen Carter was drafted?
It was Broderick Jones.
Was Broderick?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the great picks that they're getting, and then look at the guy we got. Broderick Jones.
Well, on at the time, on paper, Broderick Jones was, rated one of the best offensive linemen coming out of the draft.
But who the hell's rating these people? Hindsight 2020 tells me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Carter is a million times better.
Yeah.
We got the guy that stinks, who doesn't know what side of the line he could play, and the Eagles again. Everything they touch has the Midas touch.
And tackle was a need because you had Dan Moore and Chukwuekwuor for. So we needed him, and he was rated as one of the best tackles. You take him. That's why, the draftsmen on paper, draft night, they look amazing or they look terrible. And then 4 years down the line,
the hell made Broderick Jones's report. The guy doesn't even look competent enough to be out on a football field, let alone be a starter, let alone to be a top tackle in a draft. The guy doesn't know what side of the line he could play. Especially after 3 years. This year is getting pretty ugly. Him and Mark Robinson, Mike. I don't even know is Mark Robinson still on the team? The inside linebacker.
Yeah, he's special teams.
I went on and on about him for years, and maybe that's what he's going to be. He's just going to be a special team.
A special teamer, maybe.
The guy can hit, though. The guy can.
He can hit.
I wanted to see him more on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
You're going to play Cole Holcomb. You might as well play this guy, right?
Nah. Like they tried. It's you're converting went from running back to middle linebacker senior year of college.
What exactly was it that Cole Holcomb converted into a
injury
hospital patient? Exactly.
Yeah, right.
We're trusting him enough to put him in the lineup.
Cole Holcomb's going to come dressed in like Vince McMahon with that big ass, that ankle thing on there.
Patrick, I mean, that's what he's best at. He's the best player at getting injured. I've never seen somebody be so patient with the guy. That's all. Broderick was supposed to be the next Trent Williams, Tortilla was saying. Also, P says, can Philly afford all the repairs after a victory parade every year? I don't know what
they got to cycle. Yeah, they can't. They can't.
I don't know what the hell they're doing, but their drafts are immaculate. Big C. This year we got Troy undersized, LT with knee problems, while Eagles got both cornerbacks. The Steelers. Nothing is untrue.
Yeah,
I wanted every damn player that the Eagles drafted over the past 2 years. Mark Robinson is I like him a lot. I like Mark Robinson. I don't know what it is. Is he just not? It's not between the ears because the guy's a hitter. I mean, he's been in the league. Of course, he made the transition from running back to linebacker.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been on a team. You've been in the league for 3. How long you take? I mean, teach me to do something. I promise you, it's not going to take me 3 years to get it. I promise.
He was like a 6th round pick, and if he becomes he has become a viable special teams player. I'm okay with that out of a 6th round pick. Someone who's contributing there. But I get what you're saying though, because you see the flashes, you see him, and you're like, shit, man, he put it all together. But hey. So some guys are backups, some guys are just special teams players. It sucks because
did he hit that right on that? Tortilla says, "Hey, at least we got their used aging defensive back with Slay, of course." We're getting all the crumbs, all the guys that they're doing what we used to do. Mike, as you said yesterday, we used to not be afraid to find a guy, have a guy, and a year or so before we think that he's going to hit that wall, we would get rid of him. Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu. They didn't have the most ideal ride-offs in the sunset in that situation. They were kind of told that, that you're at the end of your road. Why we used to do that, we don't do it anymore. The Eagles are doing that. Now we're getting all the scraps that the teams that picked up are scraps that followed that same philosophy all those years. So they're doing something very similar to what the Steelers generally do. And we really got away with from that particular philosophy.
Yeah, hopefully Slay, he had a good year last year. You just hope that wasn't the last hurrah. You hope this year's the last hurrah, then move on from him from there.
Yinzer Joe says, I think the Steelers wanted an offensive lineman in 23, but they were afraid because they were coming off the board fast. They had to get in front of another team for Jones. Pretty sure they wanted Skoronski. Hell yeah, right?
Yeah, well, Skoronski, yeah, he moved into what I think a guard down in Tennessee.
Yeah,
they kicked him inside, which wouldn't have been a bad pick too. Some of these past couple drafts too, kind of the Kenny Pickett draft. You could have got McDuffie, the cornerback. You could have got the year we got Najee in round 1. We could have got Creed Humphreys in round 2, but we went Freiermuth. So the last couple drafts weren't the greatest.
Tortilla says, yeah, when we trade up like that, we know they are panicking. Yeah. Yes. But guys, I'm gonna move forward, but I have a pretty cool trivia.
Yeah.
Excuse me, a pretty cool draft trivia question for the day. So if you do stick around, I think you are gonna like the question. But we do have to move forward, guys, because there's a lot of sports going on in and around Pittsburgh, certainly this week. So I am going to move forward a little bit here. Mike, let's jump over to the Diamond as the Pittsburgh Pirates get ready to wrap up their 4-game series against the Nationals today. The Nationals coming into the series with a 7-11 record, taking on our Pirates, who are 7-12. That game actually started 5 minutes ago. So if you want to catch this game 4 of the Pittsburgh Pirates series against the Nationals, it should be underway as we speak. The probables were Andrew Haney for the Pirates, who's 0-1 with a 3 ERA and 18 strikeouts, going against Trevor Williams for Washington. I'm sorry. Trevor Williams has a 1-1 record with a 7.36 ERA and 11 strikeouts on the season. Like these Pittsburgh Pirates, they 2 nights ago their batting average collectively as a team was 184.
Woo.
The lowest average for an NL team in the first 16 games of the season since 1907. Always setting records, these Pirates.
Yeah.
Long end, but
Yep.
And also, Mike, get this, after they go 8, listen, so last night they win the game against the Nationals. They won last night 6-1. They actually had a good offensive outing. Get this. They went 8 for 10 with runners in scoring positions last night. 8 for 10, which put them in the MLB lead with runners in scoring position batting average to 297. So the team batting average collectively is 180?
Yeah, 180 something.
180 something. Mike, in their runners in scoring position batting average, 297. The lowest and the highest. 184 is what it was.
Yeah.
Could you ever make sense of this Pittsburgh Pirate team? Could you ever make sense of this Pittsburgh Pirate team?
No, because in the past couple of years, we would get runners on base and we would strain them all. And it figures this year, when they're on base, we're the best at getting for average. Now we can't get anyone on base. This is typical Pirate baseball. When they're good at something, the opposite that you need to be good, they're fucking terrible at. And once again, like you said, man, making history in the wrong way.
That's what they do.
It's Pirate baseball, baby.
In the same season, they can make the history doing the worst thing ever and then best thing ever. And that's exactly what they're doing with their average. Like 184 is a team right now, the worst ever since 1907.
Yeah.
297 average with runners in scoring position, like first in the majors currently.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Your best hitters are Joey Bart, who's hurt, and then IKF.
Yeah.
If you're counting on those two to be your best hitters, that's not a recipe for success.
They did get a little help yesterday in the game, like from Cruz. Cruz goes 2 for 4. He hits a grand slam.
Yeah.
4 ribbies on the day. Henry Davis having a good day as well, playing catcher with the injuries that we do have. He hits a home run also in the 6-1 win, Mike. Bailey Falter goes 7 innings, gives up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Got a little chippy there for a while. Somebody, pitcher for Washington, threw a little too close to Kutch. Bench is cleared. They got it all settled out and figured out. But at the end of the day, the Pirates did win this game 6-1. Putting them in a 2-1 lead in this 4-game series. They do wrap it up. They are underway right now. A couple other things about this Pittsburgh Pirates squad, Mike, before I do move on. Let me just look here real quick, make sure I'm not. Oh, yeah, here we go. So the attendance, this is something I wanted to talk about, Mike. So the attendance is really low because of the shady shit that they're doing up there. The Pittsburgh office, again, covering the Roberto Clemente sign with these bricks. And I'll get more into that in a second. I do have the apology letter that I have a big problem with, actually. But the attendance is still terrible. The team isn't any good. Like, this is 5 games so far, 5 games below 9,000 fans so far this season. Mike, they had 1 game all last season with that many fans.
Yeah. When you don't add anyone after your pitcher had one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, showing that he could be one of the greatest pitchers of all time, that's going to piss fans off. When you remove these bricks unannounced, that's going to piss a huge segment of the fans off. And then you cover up arguably your greatest players of all time's tribute for ad revenue that you don't use to improve the team. You pissed off just about everyone in the fan base. And I salute the Bucco fans that are not counting.
This, let me find. There's just one particular part that I just absolutely love in this Pirates letter from President Travis Williams. He penned an open letter to the fans, and there's just one part in particular that he really bullshits, and I wanted to call it out on this. Let me just see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. In the letter, in the apology, he says this. I know how meaningful. Okay, excuse me. I know how meaningful the messages are. They're talking about the bricks. Now, 25 years ago, when they first built PNC Park, people bought bricks who had things engraved in them, and they said, we're going to make this part of the building, and it's going to be history. And people said, you know what? I went to ball games with my grandpa for 45 years ago, and he took me there as a kid. And a lot of people bought these for sentimental reasons. And the Pirates, they took them all and they ditched them. And you got to see the picture.
Yeah,
big piles of these bricks. So anyway, they caught a lot of heat. If you're not up to the story, so here's what the apology letter. This is what this Mr. Travis Williams, the president, he says this. I know how meaningful the messages and tributes are. We respect that. We appreciate that, Williams wrote in the letter. We are and have always been absolutely committed to ensuring these special messages and tributes live on permanently at PNC Park. Mike, let me read that one more time, and let me tell you, and you tell me what's wrong with what this guy wrote.
Yeah.
I know how meaningful the messages and tributes are. We respect that. We appreciate that. We are and have always been committed, absolutely committed, to ensuring these special memories and tributes live on permanently at PNC Park. Why do I hate this, Mike?
Because they're lying through their teeth. If you respect them, would they be? Look at that picture right there. Would they be in a dump?
That is right there?
Would they be in a dump?
That dump, not Mike's face, the dump in the picture. You can see all that stuff going on in the middle of that screen. Those are the bricks. That's what people paid $75 to $100 for to get their grandfather, their wife, whatever, transcripted on this. And let's just say they did get damaged over time by not they took them all.
Yeah.
It didn't just take damage. They're bullshit. So basically everything he said while trying to walk back out of this is a 100% bullshit lie. And I think this should make Pirates fans even more pissed. Let me read it one more time, and I'll quit, I promise. Like, one more time, just because I can't believe it. I know how meaningful, this is the president of the Pirates. I know how meaningful the messages and tributes are. They know how meaningful they are, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. They respect that.
Oh, respect it.
They appreciate that. They have and always have been absolutely committed to ensuring these special messages and tributes live on. So he wrote this in his own words.
Yeah.
This is why people hate the Pirates.
Yeah.
I mean, losing for 30 years is a start. And the thing that gets me, Mike, what I see, I just seen this promotion for the games this weekend against Cleveland. they're still trying to sell the stadium as the best ballpark in the USA. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. Yes, there's an amazing view, and it's probably one of the best. But 25 years of losing baseball, nobody gives two shits about. Okay, people are going to take their kids. It's going to be a nice day, but people don't care about that no more. They're not buying the ballpark. They're saying, yeah, no, what it's fun. It's a nice ballpark, but you guys are too much. The owners, the office is too much.
Yeah,
they refuse to put a good baseball team on the field after coming out last year and saying, Mike, saying I'm going to give Ben Sherrington a blank check to make this team better. What did they do this offseason? They brought over Spencer Horowitz, who's been injured since he's got here. Mike, everything they do is wrong. At least the Steelers are trying. These guys, come on. Everything they do is effed up.
Yeah, it is. Like,
hide the wart and win baseball games. Then, if you Mike, they don't do anything well.
No, like they don't. Like, I'm literally at a loss for words for how inept that organization is. Like you said, at least like the Penguins and the Steelers, they try to win. We might not agree with their moves or their methods, but they are doing what they can to do to keep the teams competitive and trying to win and put a product out there for the fans and make the fan experience fun. The Pittsburgh Pirates are the complete opposite. Like, the most exciting thing at a Bucco game was a Paul Skeens start in the pierogi race. That's it. That's the list.
I hate these owners. I hate them.
Yeah, and you're just ruining a great historic franchise. Let's put it.
I'm going to tell you, Mike,
history going through the Pirates organization in MLB history, and they're just shitting all over it.
And it's funny. People might say, the Pirates the best. You know what, Mike? Look at this list that I did dig up. This is the list of greatest MLB teams of all times. The 1927 Yankees being number 1, 76 Reds number 2, 98 Yankees number 3. Number 4, Mike, the best Major League Baseball teams ever was the 1909 Pirates, one of their World Series years, 1 of 5. And then they beat the Yankees again in 60, the Orioles 2 times in the 70s. This is a very proud franchise.
Yeah, and you want to talk about that 60 World Series, the home run from our shortstop. Oh my God, his name's forgetting.
Second base, Bill Mazeroski.
Thank you, Bill Mazeroski, arguably the great. Him and Ozzie Smith, the two greatest, middle infielders of all time. The first ever walk-off home run in World Series history. That's a part of baseball lore. That should be like, teams should be talking about that. But it's the Buccos, man,
and players,
and players too.
Clemente 3,000 hits, and he died. If he wouldn't have died in the plane
what
crash,
would he have had? Yeah.
Willie Stargell, the all-time home run leader for the Pirates. I mean, Dave Parker. The list really goes on.
Honus Wagner, a member of the inaugural Baseball Hall of Fame class. Doc Ellis. Might not be a great pitcher, but throwing that no-hitter high on acid.
Tripping on LSD.
A great story. Yeah, that's part of baseball lore and history. That's fun.
But the Pirates' greatness, I mean, the lack of success over the past 32 years is certainly overshadowed that.
Yep.
It's a shame. I'm get a couple of these messages real quick here on the board. Andrew Joe says, I just don't want them to panic over these QBs and find out he's a pick. That's a problem too, Mike. A lot of these QBs are, being labeled as second, third round guys.
Yeah.
I don't want them to, that's certainly something that could be a thing for sure.
Yeah.
He says, covering up Roberto sounds like some Trump. You know what they did? They took this advertisement, Surfside. It's called Surfside.
I don't know if I have the image. Nope.
Well, pull that, but then leave that. Don't pull it up.
Well, no, I got the surf side.
So these cans right here, these cans that you see over Mike's face, that's what they put over. They took one of them and put it over Roberto Clemente's. They have a special spot for him on the right field wall because he played right field, and it's even 21 feet high.
Yeah,
and they took that stupid can, that Surfside iced tea, and they put it right over the commemorative Roberto thing. And they didn't even tell his family, who's very involved still with the Pirates organization. So again, they're just pissed. This team, pissed at them, and it's not the usual stuff. It's not they can't find a way to win baseball games. It's everything else. That's just what's going on with this Pittsburgh Pirates squad. If we didn't have the Steelers, it would make me more upset. But we're lucky we got football, right?
Exactly, because that's a calming experience nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. The way our good teams are playing.
I know, right?
Mike, speaking of some good teams, the softball gals in Pennsylvania, they did play against one another the other day where the Pitt softball team beat Penn State 16-8. 16-8. Pitt girls did win that game. So I like softball. I like the women's volleyball. Those college level women, they have some good sports, man. I got to tell you.
Yeah, they do.
Very,
Competitive
very
too.
competitive. Very competitive.
Like fiery and feisty, like how you picture sports, like men's sports from the 80s and the 90s and the 70s. Like they're out there to fucking win.
Yeah.
You love it, man. There's that
It's like, with the college basketball, the way these girls, the women, I'm sorry, they took over that sport over the past couple of years, and volleyball with the Pitt and the Penn State. Man, these women are tough. I like watching women's sports for obvious reasons, but these reasons too, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see, Mike. Let's do this. Let's hop over to some Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins wrap up their season tonight, Mike. Third year in a row, they will not be making the playoffs. They wrap up tonight in the fan appreciation game. Will they be hosting Alexander Ovechkin in the Capitals tonight at 7:00 p.m. Mike, a couple of things. Chris Letang, he did undergo successfully underwent surgery to close a small hole in his heart. That over the past couple of days. So thoughts out to Mr. Letang. Everything went well though. No need for concern. And then also, Mike, for these Pittsburgh Penguins who were coming into this last game with a 33-36-12 record, their captain Sidney Crosby, he certainly he got voted by the NHLPA player poll as the most complete player in the league. Once again, Mike, Sidney Crosby, you've been saying it all year.
Yep.
I would agree with that. Most complete player without a question.
At what, 37, 35, whatever age bracket he's in, still being the most complete player in the NHL, finishing probably inside top 10 in points. Dude's beast. Phenomenal.
Yeah, no two ways about that. Good for him. The Penguins do wrap it up. They will start golfing tomorrow. So that is the Penguins, Mike. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they won the other day. They won their tournament game. This is the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup tourney. They were supposed to play. I got kind of confused because I don't really follow soccer that much.
Yeah.
But they had Loudoun United on their schedule online. But then whenever I went back and looked at something else, it says they play the New York City soccer team in this tournament. So not sure which that will be.
Yeah.
But that is again Saturday. It's supposed to be Saturday. Time and date hasn't been settled, but they are saying Saturday against the New York City soccer team. If you're following the Pittsburgh Riverhounds going, Mike, they're trying to win the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open tournament.
Yeah, they won that, I think, 2 seasons ago. And that's like all the teams in their league versus all the teams in the MLS, the top league in soccer. Yeah, so it's like more or less like the U.S. You're like the champion of the U.S. professional soccer. They're trying to copy what they do over in Europe and South America and all the other soccer hotbeds.
Yeah, right. And you know what? That was when people really started getting in an interest in the Riverhounds.
Yeah, when they won that
tournament, and you know. Also, Mike, the NHL playoffs. The NHL playoffs are decided as the Pittsburgh Penguins do get ready to wrap things up. The brackets does look a little bit like this for the NHL, which is getting ready to start. Over in the Western Conference, Mike, the Winnipeg Jets will be taking on the St. Louis Blues in the first round. The Dallas Stars will be taking on Colorado. Vegas Knights versus the Minnesota Wild. That should be the Marc-Andre Fleury series.
Yep. Excuse me.
The LA Kings will be taking on the Edmonton Oilers. In the East, Toronto will be taking on Ottawa. Tampa Bay and Florida. Nice matchup in the state of Florida in the first round. Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. And finally, Mike, the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils is the last series. Mike, the NHL playoffs are set. Do you follow still after the Penguins get eliminated, or do you just kind of passively keep up with it?
I still follow along with it to see if McDavid's ever going to win a cup, to see if Ovi wins a cup this year. And if he does, that changes the whole landscape of like, where's he going to rank all time in players? Because he has that one, you get 2, you move up that echelon there, and Flowers in it too. So I want to see there. Those are like the
Yeah.
big 3 storylines I follow. I've tried to find a storyline every cup playoff that we don't make just to keep interested because I love hockey.
Mike, speaking of storylines,
Yeah.
the WrestleMania also was brought to our attention as this weekend, Mike. There's going to be, this is WrestleMania 41, will feature triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Other notable matchups include the undisputed WWE Championship match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. On night 2, a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. And also, let's see, women's heavyweight, triple threat, tag team, U.S. Mike, all the championships are up for grabs on WrestleMania 41. That starts Saturday and goes Saturday and Sunday. It's a two-day event now.
Yep.
If you're into wrestling, you got to love it, man. It used to be just a Sunday evening for about 3 hours. Now it goes through the weekend. They have all these build-ups, lead-ups all day long. So if wrestling is your thing and the WWE and the WrestleMania is this Saturday. It's the Super Bowl, right? This is the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah. It's their Super Bowl, man. I'll probably tune in here and there, catch a couple of them, or just wait for it to social media tell me which ones to watch.
Hey, right, exactly. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The 2dumbyinzers.com. Everyone, we got their merch store over there. We got all of our links for social media, where to follow us, and we got the blog over there. I threw a short little blog with the screen cap of the mock draft I did if the Steelers trade TJ Watt. I don't think it's going to happen, but you know,
I don't see
we're getting down to the crunch time to fill the weekly blog here before the draft. So I thought that one was just a little fun.
I think that this isn't going to end easy. It's going to be a bunch of BS with the TJ Watt. You know what I mean? They're going to drag it through the mud and Steeler. They have to let the Steeler media talk about this for 6 months. There's no way in the world I think that he's getting traded, Mike. I think that this contract issue is going to be a thing with him for the next year.
Yeah, it's going to be messy because this is the last year of his contract. He wants to be the highest paid player in the league. You played about half the season where you would have deserved that money, but the second half you did not.
Yeah.
And I like TJ Watt. I like Cam Hayward, but it comes to a point though, you gotta look to the future of the club.
Let me get a couple of these messages, Mike, before we do jump into the trivia question of the day. Let's see right here. Ninja Joe says, okay, he said about Pickett. PP, what's going on, my man? He says DUIs are more important than history. And then he also goes on to say, love me some college volleyball uniforms. Not gonna lie, me too. They're my favorite. Oh, them college girls with the tight shorts. They're of age. What's the problem here?
Sinners.
So let's get to there's a couple more here. Let's see. That is okay. That's up to date on the comments, guys. This is the trivia of the day. I think you're going to like this. This is a Steelers trivia question about the draft. So, Mike, put on your thinking cap. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. This is the Steelers trivia question of the day, Mike. Here we go. How many Steeler draft picks became Hall of Famers? How many Steeler draft picks became Hall of Famers? Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. So the question of the day, obviously a number we're looking for. The question is, how many Steeler draft picks became Hall of Famers? Mike, do you want to take a stab at this? We have to figure out how many. I mean, you can think of who some of them are. You think that they had the really good draft year in the 70s when they had ample players that were drafted from that draft?
I'm at 13.
P's saying 8. Tortilla's saying 17. Again, the question of the day is this. How many Steeler draft picks became Hall of Famers?
All right, let's count this out here. Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris. Then you go into the greatest draft class of all time. Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert, Mike Webster, Lynn Swan. We have another Hall of Famer from that draft class, but he was an undrafted free agent. But Jack Ham, Mel Blunt, Damani Dawson, Big Red, Dirty Red, Alan Faneca, Troy Polamalu, Ernie Stautner. Oh, is he in the Hall of Fame?
He's not on my list. Was he drafted? I don't know.
Yeah, drafted by the Sears. Yeah. Fuck, I'm going 13. That's just off the top of my head.
All right, so we have Terry Bradshaw, Mean Joe Green, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, Mike Webster, Troy Polamalu, Rod Woodson, Alan Faneca, Len Dawson, Bill Dudley, and Bobby Lane for a total of 13. You somehow ended up with the right answer.
That's an old list because Troy Polamalu.
I said Troy Polamalu.
Oh, okay. Dawson.
I don't know why. Len Dawson.
Dermarni Dawson.
Yeah, Dermarni Dawson.
Dermarni Dawson. Alan
you know what
Faneca.
it is? This is. You know what this is? Dermarni. It just has. It's written as Len.
Yeah.
But it's
okay.
Actually,
yeah. Okay.
But the year is, and I said Faneca. So it's 13
okay.
players.
Okay.
Terry Bradshaw, Dermarni Dawson, Bill Dudley, Joe Green, Franco, Bobby Lane, Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, Mike Webster, Troy Polamalu, Rod Woodson, and Alan Faneca. 13.
Yeah.
So somehow you landed on the right answer, and I don't exactly know how, and I'm not sure you know how, but nonetheless, Mike, congratulations, good job on that. 13 drafted Steelers made it to the Hall of Fame.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, man. And as you said, most of them came in that 1974 draft class, and it's
and I forget who. God, he was an undrafted free agent, and he just made the Hall of Fame last year or the year before. I forget his name. It's escaping me. But you have 5 players from that draft class in the Hall of Fame. And the best part is, too, how they got John Stallworth. At that time, you passed around the canisters of film, and Bill Nunn saw John Stallworth and was like, yeah, we ain't sending this film anywhere. We're keeping this. Latch sheet steel, baby. He was the original Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, Mike. So that good job. I think that you totally lucky landed out on the number, the correct number. But good job nonetheless, Mike. We do start getting ready to wrap things up for the day. I do want to say that I did read that Pittsburgh is named the 5th the best. Let me start over. Pittsburgh is named the 5th best destination for beer lovers in the world.
Ooh.
In the world. I don't know what that means, but to me, what I make of that is that we drink a lot. People drinks a lot here in Western Pennsylvania. And with the legalization of marijuana going on around the country, drinking is certainly down. Big numbers around the whole country. But Mike, here in Pittsburgh, it was named over the weekend, actually, that we are the 5th best destination for beer lovers in the world.
Yeah, apparently there's some like good craft breweries around Pittsburgh too, so people love that stuff. So,
people, and
if you want to drink and have a good time, hang out with a bunch of drunken yinzers. You never know what's going to happen.
My other thing is this, Mike. One of the worst feelings in the world, and no one ever really thinks of this. What about when you're drinking a glass of water and you're drinking it too fast? And you get that sharp pain in the middle of your chest. Why does nobody ever talk about that? That has to be one of the worst feelings in the world. You're just drinking a glass of water. And what happens, apparently, I looked into it, it's an air bubble. You get an air bubble, and it's like you feel like you're dying.
Yeah.
It feels like, oh, my God, I could be having a heart attack right now. That's how bad it is. Why does nobody ever talk about that? That is one of the most pleasurable feelings as a human being, I think.
Yeah, and that is a common human experience across no matter where you're born, class, race, whatever. Everyone has experienced it. And like you said, no one talks about it.
This needs more. This needs more exposure. Yeah,
it does.
I'm going to make a point to talk about that every day from now on.
Here at the Two Dumb Yinzers, we're uniting the world by talking about the water air bubble
That's right.
that wants to kill you. It feels like a heart attack.
Don't you forget it. Mike, what about you, man? Anything before we do get ready to wrap up for today?
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm going to go on a little nerd thing here. If you're a fan, if you watch the Daredevil series on Netflix and you really don't trust Disney to make new content, watch it. It is awesome. The last episode is full of violence and gore that I thought Disney would never have the balls to do, and they did it. They honored the Punisher character and the Daredevil character. Check it out if you're looking for something to watch.
All right, go check that out, everybody. Also, as Mike said before, go check out the website. A lot of cool things going on over there. www.the2dumbusers.com. That's www.the2dumbusers.com. Feel free to hit the like button below, smash the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Plus, visit all of our social media. We do have presence over on Facebook, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, pretty much everywhere. Go check it out, guys. Also, I do want to make sure that I say thank you to everybody. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do this without you. Everybody on the board, I want to say thank you so much. You guys always keep things interesting. Awesome. Always keep things interesting here on the show. And everybody at home or at work or in the car or at the gym, wherever you may be, we thank you as well. Nobody is left out. Believe me. Thank you so much. Derpy did take off. He was here for the day. I think maybe tomorrow he might be back to finish out the week. Maybe Finch. Not sure what's going on yet, but do come back tomorrow, guys. We'll talk a little bit about how the Pirates wrapped up this series against the Nationals that started about an hour ago. Their fourth and final game of the series. Also, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Penguins wrapping up their season in the last game, the fan appreciation night at home against the Capitals before the playoff starts. All kind of things, guys. And I guess we're going to have to keep an eye on the Pat McAfee show, according to Derpy, to see if Aaron Rodgers makes any commitments or gives any important news. I don't think it's going to happen, but nonetheless, we will stay on top of that as well as get ready for the draft. Like we have less than 1 week when we come back tomorrow to wrap up the show for the week. Yes. Less than 1 week till the NFL draft. So still so much stuff going on with our football team here in Pittsburgh and beyond. So much, a lot of great sports, guys. So again, do come back tomorrow. We hope to see everybody then. Thank you, Tortilla. You as well, my friend. Everybody as well. Guys, have a great Thursday. Mike, anything else? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, man. Have a good one, everyone. This is a great show.
Yeah, have a safe day, everybody. Have a great day. We hope to see everybody back tomorrow. We'll all finish the week together, head into the weekend, and get ready for this draft. I can't wait. I know that people are just so excited. Draft, guys, 1 week from today. So there you have it. I think that'd be it. So for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, Derpy, and myself, the Two Dumb Users, everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a Penske fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide with stories don't get old. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud.